Monsieur, mesdames, let's please meet with us today the CEO of STREAMR, Henry. Hey.
Hey, hi. Thanks for having me on the show. It's great.
With pleasure. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Sorry to force your viewers to switch language to
English.
to English.
No worries.
Yeah, before this session, I was telling Anthony that the only thing I know in French is just this very rude sentence that I'm not going to try and say here. So let's just skip that and stick to English.
Exactly. I tried to learn you to say a couple other words, but yeah, let's just stick with English. Maybe it's better.
Yeah, it's probably better. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, first of all, thank you very much for taking some time with us here at Cryptologic to speak about STREAMR. So we have a lot of people who already know about STREAMR because we've been talking about it since a couple of months already now. But it's just great to be able to now have the CEO. We also have a couple of people now in the chat who are actually also running a couple nodes at this moment. So really awesome to see this.
Excellent.
Yeah, someone is here with 2 nodes. He also said that he had a lot of help on Discord directly from the community. So really awesome to see that. Maybe we can begin with a very fast introduction about first, who is Henry before we talk about STREAMR?
Who is Henry?
And what is your background?
Yeah, so I'm a Finnish guy. I'm based in Switzerland, Zug. So not exactly where Anthony is, but same country, not too far away. Yeah, what am I? I'm 38 years old. Oh, Jesus.
Almost.
Yeah,
almost the next step.
getting to the next level. Yeah, for sure. So I have a tech background. I used to work on all kinds of software from like e-commerce to financial, like algorithmic trading and that kind of stuff. Before starting STREAMR, it was very, very like data oriented. We were doing like a data platform that was more like Web 2 and SaaS type of thing. And then I got really excited about like Ethereum at the time and realized, okay, holy shit, this is like the best thing since Swiss cheese. So it really inspired. And I saw that, okay, the data platform of the future and all data platforms of the future must be decentralized, because this is the only way how we can kind of guarantee the neutrality and safety and scalability of the platforms. So it was a very clear way for us to go. And then we got it from there. 2017, we did the ICO. Raised 30 million for a 5-year roadmap, and now we're on that track. Okay, didn't really answer only the question of who is Henry, but also how I ended up in this position. Yeah, so I'm like a technical CEO. I'm quite involved in also the tech side of things, so kind of like doing a CTO role at the same time. Which is actually very popular in the Silicon Valley nowadays, if you think about like all the Zuckerbergs and others. But yeah, it fits the Web3 space particularly well, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. Exactly. I just also wanted to mention, because I wanted to mention this in the beginning, but for all the people who don't know it yet still, so I also work actually at STREAMR as head of community, but I just wanted to mention it because it's the first time that I actually interview someone of my own team, to be honest, and my boss also. So, so yeah, I just wanted to mention it also.
But I would come to your show anyway, even if we didn't work together. So
exactly. Oh, okay, that's really awesome.
That's not why I'm here.
Okay, so maybe we can talk a little bit more about STREAMR itself. So it exists now since so many years, almost 5 years now, and you've been working since so long about the STREAMR network, and the main net has been launched since a couple of weeks ago. So this is really awesome, very exciting moments. We also had a very important test nets a couple of months ago who went pretty well. Can you tell us a little bit more about maybe also the test net and what is about this mainnet? What is happening?
Yeah, so the big shift in this milestone is the kind of decentralization of the network. So earlier, if you look at what we've been doing since 2017, we've run various iterations of the network, but they've been more or less centralized so far. So this is the kind of revolutionary step where anyone can start using the network and run their own nodes. There's also this incentive program that we have already in this milestone, and some of you in the audience were participating in the staking thing. That's great. So it's really like it's a weight off my shoulders to reach this fantastic milestone. And the test nets that we ran late last year, those were kind of validation steps. So we wanted to see that the network works at scale. And during those 3 test nets, we did encounter problems, which was great because this was the exact purpose of running the test nets, to expose any bugs and problems in there. And by the 3rd test net, it was running very smoothly, and it was quite large. There was 90,000 nodes online at the same time, kind of interested in the same data. So that's already very large use case, and it was working like very smoothly. So we had the confidence to then launch the mainnet just a couple of weeks ago, and everything has gone very smoothly with that as well. So I'm quite happy. People are not running around like putting out fires and working like overtime and nights and everything to hold things together. It's actually quite robust. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, there could be a lot of problems also at the launch of a mainnet. It can always happen. So I'm very happy that it didn't went that way, to be honest, because people were waiting for a couple months, even years, maybe for some people, about, for example, staking. This is something very popular now in cryptocurrencies, and people love to be able to stake without having just the crypto sleeping in their wallets. And now people can stake on the network. It's really awesome.
Correct.
You have to run a node, but now you can stake. And can you tell us maybe a little bit more about how that works? Because normally in a lot of projects, you can just stake your tokens on the website or something. How does it maybe work at Streamer today?
Yeah, so what we have now from this milestone is a kind of a lightweight version of what we will have in the future. So it's a little bit more limited, but it's kind of like a simulation of, of it. So what we eventually want to have in the Streamer network is that there are nodes that service different streams on the network. So when a node joins a stream and streams kind of peer-to-peer topology in the network, they make it more robust, they make it faster, they make it more resilient against attacks and churn and all that kind of stuff. So it's good if nodes join a stream, right? But unless they are publishing and subscribing, they don't have a reason to join a stream unless there's an incentive. So what will be possible, that will be that someone will pay tokens into a smart contract, and then these miners, or those who run the nodes for money, they can join that stream and bring all those stability and robustness benefits to that data. But we don't have that quite yet, in the sense that it can't be like not everyone can pay tokens and not into every stream. So at this stage we have like special streams that are kind of predefined, that get some token inflow from a kind of supply increase process to create the incentives for people to join. So this part is already possible. So you can run a node, the node will join one of those special streams and earn tokens, but it does require a stake. And in the eventual token economical model, the stake is there to kind of guarantee that the node is honest, basically. So if the node misbehaves in some way, it breaks the rules of the protocol or something else, then it can be kicked out or slashed. So that's the purpose of the stake eventually. Right now, the purpose of the stake is more or less just protect against Sybil attacks, which means that someone could just spin up a huge number of nodes in an attempt to get like a larger share of the rewards. So that's why it's so important that those who participate, they really have skin in the game. So they're working in the best interest of the ecosystem and not against the ecosystem. And the staking kind of guarantees that as well. So you can run a node, put some data tokens kind of onto your node, and if things go correctly, it will be earning tokens from the reward process.
Yeah, some good rewards at this moment. So
yeah.
We will see how long it will take. That it goes a little bit more maybe down, but for the moment the rewards are quite amazing, to be honest. Do you have the numbers in your head, or maybe in front of you?
I do. So basically, depends on what measure we use. So there's APR and APY, right? And APY is basically your rewards with compounding, and APR is without compounding. So without compounding, it's 150% annualized rate at the moment. So you like 2.5 multiply your your stake if it stays. But of course the size of the rewards is fixed. So when more people join, the interest rate will go down because everyone's sharing the same cake. But at the moment, it's still very good. So I think more people will still join until it kind of balances out, so that it's attractive. It's not attractive enough for people to join anymore. But right now, it's still attractive enough for sure. And with compounding, it gives you like 300% annualized.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also when people will stake, it's awesome for the project because we have less tokens in circulation. So automatically it should be like this. It's mathematical, but normally the price can increase. But also we have more nodes running, and this is exactly what the project needs. So more people, how better, maybe less rewards, but at that moment it's also better not only for the project but also for all the people who are actually also token holders at that moment. So yeah,
it's a very reasonable thing for token holders to do and participate in the system. And once we make progress towards the next milestone, it will actually be also very, very useful for the network's operation. Whereas right now it's a little bit of a side game just to test out like things like, will people participate? But I think the very clear answer is that yes, people will participate and people will run these nodes. So that's exactly the answer that we were looking for at this time.
Exactly. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about we have today builders, people who have created some stuff on top of Streamer, and they're also using it. Maybe you can tell a little bit more about why they're using it and what kind of projects can we find there.
Yeah. So of course it's early days, so the ecosystem is still developing, and we have to remember we only released this mainnet 2 weeks ago. But there's a range of use cases. Streamer is a very generic protocol for messaging, so you can use it for all kind of things, ranging from like decentralized social media or chatting or troll boxes or whatever you want, to more technical things like IoT, smart traffic, and that kind of stuff. So especially initially we thought that okay, this kind of protocol will be very useful for the kind of smart cities and IoT landscape, and many use cases do come from there. But we've also seen a really healthy interest in the crypto community, like crypto native use cases that really think from the first principles, like can we build like secure messaging application, or can we build like can we gather user data, for example, from web behavior or purchase behavior or something like that in an ethical and anonymous way. And all of these are working really well. Some of them are, maybe the killer app so far for Streamer has been data unions. So it's a way of crowdsourcing data, basically. And there's many different data unions that are using the Streamer network for that. Many might be familiar with Swash or Demo or these others in our ecosystem that have different kind of focus what they do. But that's been maybe like the killer app. But I think like there's all kind of things you can do, like real-time data-driven NFTs, or yeah, social media stuff, like metrics type of things, like measuring what's happening in a decentralized network can be very useful for blockchain protocols and other decentralized protocols. And we are actually using our own protocol in the Streamer network to get metrics from the Streamer network. So we're kind of using it ourselves as well for this purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for example, decentralized media, I think this is going to be just huge.
I think
and,
so, yeah.
And it's going to be very important that the people will also understand, at least, I think, also what's going to happen with data. We have all kind of projects today who are coming into Web3, but they still have also that business model about Web2 data, actually, where everything is just used and also sold, and we don't really know how, and there's no transparency and everything. So I think there's also an education that we still need in the next years from here, and it's going to be very important for decentralized media.
Yeah, and almost every modern application has some kind of real-time component to it. And it's the same, like people are used to these real-time experiences in the Web 2 world. So when we move to Web 3, they will have certain expectations. And everybody in the crypto space knows how clunky it can be. You know, it's slow and expensive to make transactions on blockchains and everything. So really the user experience goes down when you move from Web 2 to Web 3. So protocols like Streamer can help make them like a lot better. Like here we are doing video streaming at the moment, right? And when you go to, you know, your Slack or your WhatsApp, you have a lot of real-time features. The messages come immediately when you write them, and you see Henry is typing, you know, when I'm typing.
Yeah,
all these kind of things, these just don't exist in Web3 applications. They are just not there because you don't have the protocol for it. But with something like Streamer, you can have those things. So it's not just about data sharing or your personal data or something. It's really like a building block that application developers can bring into their applications to tap into like what is happening right now. Like think about games, for example. Like games are real time, right? You want to see what other players are doing in multiplayer games and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for.
I agree. Yeah, we see this hype of play to earn that we're seeing today in crypto space. I truly believe on the long term, maybe not in play to earn, but much more like play and earn. I really believe in that because we're going to have a lot of education also in gaming and stuff. So it's going to be also very important to create cool things and to really understand what's going to happen with all those kind of data and the use. And you also give the example with Henry's typing. This is something, to be honest, I hate that. It's like WhatsApp when we see those when there's two verifications, we know, oh, he read my message on WhatsApp. That's the worst thing ever. I have someone once called me to tell me, why didn't you answer? I saw that you saw the message. That was the worst moment of my life.
Well, in a decentralized network, at least you are in control. So exactly. you can turn off the features that you don't want. It's very easy.
It's much different. Exactly.
Yeah. And also maybe like not all fun and games, but also I guess the recent events also put light into like freedom of speech and censorship resistance and privacy and these kind of things. So, you know, if Russia is cutting off like all the Western Web 2 platforms like YouTubes and Facebooks and all that kind of stuff and trying to get control over like what is being said and where and shutting down like the independent media and that kind of stuff, then like censorship resistant and like privacy oriented anonymous protocols will actually become quite important because they can work around any restrictions that are enforced from the top. So really, like if we look at what the world what the Web3 world will be, I think also censorship resistance will be like very, very key aspect of what we need.
I agree 100%. The only thing maybe, and maybe I don't have the answers for it, but it's internet, because that's the only thing that if they shut it down, we can't do anything anymore. So there's still that kind of centralized.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, if they shut down the whole thing,
exactly. Yeah.
then okay. But they're also shooting themselves in the leg at that point, because it's also a very powerful tool. So the thing that, like, they can build firewalls, but you know, these kind of protocols they just work around. So you can't shut down, you can't really block access to something like Bitcoin or Streamer or Ethereum. It's practically impossible. So yeah, the only way they could do it is just shut down the whole internet.
Exactly. It costs way too much per day, if I can say, like, or per second even. I can't even imagine how much that would cost for states and countries.
Yeah. The economy will just
drop
down if they do that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That's actually the same work than like proof of work, actually, because proof of work is actually putting in place something where it costs money to be able to prove something that it works or can guarantee security somewhere, if I can say like that. So maybe that's a good way of explaining internet, like it costs way too much money to do it, so they're not going to do it even if they can do it.
Right. Everyone has a stake in the internet, even
exactly.
It's not like an explicit one.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Okay, I wanted to talk also a little bit because STREAMR has built their token on the Ethereum mainnet. It's a ERC20. Is the token also on other chains, and what kind of chains can we find today the token?
Yeah, it's on Polygon, Gnosis chain, which was called XDAI before, and it's on Binance Smart Chain. And you can get it to those chains by bridging, basically. So, for example, the STREAMR network stuff that we launched and the staking thing that we have in this milestone, that runs on Polygon. So in order to participate, you have to get data tokens somehow onto Polygon. And there's basically two bridges that connect data tokens from mainnet to Polygon. One is the Polygon bridge, which is like a smart contract based trustless bridge, and the other one is the Binance centralized exchange. So you can also like withdraw tokens from Binance directly onto the Polygon chain.
Exactly. Yeah. Today, there's always going to be centralized exchanges and stuff still for the moment. How do you see maybe STREAMR network in 10 years from here? Do you believe that it's going to be full decentralized, like people will really exchange their tokens in a peer-to-peer system, or like with DEXs today, or will there still not be everything decentralized?
Yeah, so I think the access to the token will become more diverse, but I think there's always a market for these centralized players. They can offer like excellent user experience. They can offer like fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. All these things are very important, but I think the DEXs will gain market share in the future. And so that's one thing. It's a little bit hard to answer the question how I see that landscape in 10 years because it's moving so quickly. So I think in 10 years, we hopefully have, for example, Ethereum 2.0.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Finally, and that might change things from like ecosystem perspective. So right now we have many different side chains, different L1s and L2s. Will we really need them later on if we have like scalability and sharding and proof of stake on the Ethereum chain? Well, maybe yes, maybe not. A little bit hard to say. So I think from STREAMR perspective, we'll just kind of ride along what's happening in the ecosystems and try to kind of enable different chains to have access to not only the token but also the applications and the systems that we are building. For example, as a next step after this milestone launch, we are going to bring the marketplace and the data unions framework onto these side chains as well. And Polygon will be the first one where we kind of expand. So currently we're thinking multi-chain, but after multi-chain, maybe there will be something like Ethereum 2.0 or 3.0 that will then kind of, again, converge everything into the same place. I think it would be much better if everything was in the same place, because then you get the composability benefits and other network effects. So you can kind of interconnect applications really seamlessly, whereas right now you need like oracles and stuff oracles and bridges to kind of connect things across different chains. It's very clunky, it's slow. So I think this space will evolve a lot. It doesn't take 10 years. I think it will only take 3 years, but anyway.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, maybe in 3 or 5 years from now, we will laugh on, oh, you remember 5 years ago how we needed to work? It was just crazy, because it's going so fast. That's true.
Things are developing always exponentially, and that's why our predictions of the future usually go wrong. People think intuitively that progress is linear, but actually it's exponential. So that's why we always kind of under predict what will happen in the future.
Yeah, that's true. You just talked about data unions, so there's a DAO behind it also today. Can you tell us a little bit more about this DAO?
Yeah, so it's kind of a spin-off. So we first created the data unions framework, which is like a set of smart contracts and a library, basically, under the STREAMR project, because we saw that this data crowdsourcing and revenue sharing would be like a really interesting use case for STREAMR. But it's actually become now so popular that it would make sense to spin it off as a project of its own, because then it allows it to create its own token and focus the token economics of that project like specifically for data unions, whereas the STREAMR data token can then focus on the STREAMR network token economics. And also we don't have to try and kind of talk about two products under the same brand, because it just leads to confusion. So it's good that data unions are here, STREAMR is here, and there's very strong synergy in there, because most data unions use the STREAMR network for data transport. But it's now fundraising, so this kind of spin-off is in process. And it will be launched during the course of this year for sure. So
awesome.
That's what's happening on that front.
Yeah.
And also this individual data union project. So kind of customers of the DAO have been successful in building good starts on their projects and raising funds and stuff like that. For example, Swash, they raised like 20 million or something like that. There's Demo, they raised like 7 million, and you know, so it's like we're building like a fertile ground where others can build projects that can be successful, like end user things. And this is of course our very goal as like platform builders or middleware builders, that someone can be successful with the technology that we are building. So this is our number one goal for sure.
Yeah, exactly. We've been seeing this with amazing projects at this moment, and there's more and more also coming. I think it was now that the mainnet is launched, also it's much more attractive for people to come, because it feels like, oh, it's something also ready. Before maybe it was also, you could already use it, but today it's much different also.
Yeah.
Will there be a big change between the mainnet, because it was a very important milestone, between the mainnet and Tatum? So the next milestone, will there be a big difference for builders?
Yeah, not a huge one. So the only thing that's added in the next milestone is basically the network incentives. So you can basically like stream owners or whoever, they can put tokens to incentivize the kind of stability and performance of the streams. But otherwise it's otherwise it's the same. So I see it as a kind of layered structure. So on the bottom, you have the data transport, which is now released in this milestone. And then the token incentives for the kind of more generic staking than what we have now, as well as the delegation stuff that will come on top. So this we have, this we are building. So adding this doesn't really change this underneath layer. So that's kind of ready in some sense. Mm-hmm. So it becomes more flexible and more options for you, but the basic thing is the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the fact that Web3 is just growing, automatically there's going to be much more people also coming and learning more and searching. Actually, at least developers, they're going to search for these kind of things to be able to develop on top of that. So it's really going to be good that every project, everything that goes around Web3 is actually also good for Streamer itself.
Yeah, we're strongly connected to that ecosystem as a kind of tool in the toolkit. So when a developer is looking at, okay, what technologies are out there? What will I include in my stack that I'm going to use to build my application? Then I can pick and mix what I want. I can make Ethereum smart contracts, and I can deploy some stuff on IPFS, and then I can use Streamer for real-time data, and so on. So it's good to have these tools in the toolkit, and they are very, very powerful.
Exactly. I wanted to ask you also a little bit more actually about the team, and I didn't ask you this before, but so this was Streamer built with 2-3 persons, or how many are you behind the team?
No, man.
I know the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we are around 30 people, and we've been that from the start, more or less. So we have a budget, we have a roadmap, we have a team that is capable of executing that roadmap, and that's it. So it's quite simple at the end of the day, and so the team is kind of stable size, more or less. And the headquarters of sorts is here in Zug, but we're just quite small team here. So most of our people are just scattered around the planet. We have somewhat of a cluster in Finland, which is where I'm from. So plenty of connections there.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Nice. NFTs. I wanted to talk about NFTs also because this is something really hyped at this moment. We have a lot of projects. We had yesterday also an interview about NFTs in the evening. People are really very excited actually about those kind of NFTs, if it's art or just speculation and there's a utility. I do know that Streamer already did some NFTs, so it was more like a reward to give back to the community as well. Very nice NFTs that Matt has created. Is there some goals with Streamer and NFTs in the future, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I think NFTs is another really excellent tool in the toolkit to use for many different things. And I think the community and the overall crypto space has kind of found this to be very powerful. So we started out by handing out these NFTs. It was basically just art as rewards for active community members or accomplished node runners in the test nets and that kind of stuff. And we'll probably continue to do that kind of thing in the future as well. But I think what makes the relationship between Streamer and NFTs really interesting is also how can Streamer be used in the how can the actual technology be used in the context of NFTs? So if we think about art, for example, you could have a piece of art that somehow reacts to what's happening somewhere else, for example, reacts to who is looking at it at this moment. So your own reflection of as a viewer of that art could somehow affect what it looks like and make it kind of alive and interactive. I find this topic to be quite interesting in the art space. And also thanks to composability on the blockchain layer, you can do quite interesting things related to not only NFTs but also other digital assets. Like, for example, let's say that you have an NFT or series of NFTs, like CryptoPunks or whatever, and you can build rules that whoever owns a CryptoPunk can publish messages to a certain stream, for example. So you could build, like, let's say, a messaging application like WhatsApp or whatever, but you'd have a group there where only those who have CryptoPunk NFT can enter. And these can be verified on chain. So it's impossible for scammers or anybody else to enter and access that. So you can have these very, very private clubs of sorts. Or maybe if like you could have also like a game where you can bring your characters as NFTs, and it could kind of work over the STREAMR protocol or something like this. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I think the whole space of NFTs as well as like intersection of gaming and crypto is super, super interesting.
Yeah, I agree that.
Yeah.
It's a very good point. I mean, like to be able to put like people who are spending a lot of money in relation, and they know that there's nobody else who can enter this kind of community, close community. That's really awesome, actually. And I think there's a lot of space still yet today for those kind of things to build.
Right. Crypto communities have a real problem with these scammers and all kind of like unwanted bots and everything. But if you could create environments, whether it's like full-blown social media or just simple chatting or whatever, if you could give these guarantees that, okay, if a bot or a scammer wants to join, then at least they need to buy the tokens or something like that to get in. So then, it really creates like a threshold that most scammers and other fraudsters will not cross. They will just not be able to do it easily. Or if they do, then it at least benefits the whole community because they had to buy tokens or something.
Exactly.
It's quite interesting, I think, this thought.
Yeah, and I don't believe in NFTs today that there's a lot of those kind of things actually now that have been built already. So there's still space for a lot of those kind of projects. This is why we need more developers in the Web3 today from in the whole world at this moment, because it's just, there's so much going on and we have so much ideas that we need developers to come and to build those kind of things.
Yeah, it becomes part of our like digital identities. Like already, like, your wallet is your digital identity online, and the assets you have in your wallet is like the achievements of your identity in some sense. It's like it's the money and the medals, the honorary medals that you have achieved in your life, as well as some luxury items if you spent money on some CryptoPunks or whatever, like status symbol type of things. It's like your whole persona expressed from a point of view of digital assets and your past transactions and that kind of stuff. So it's very interesting how it evolves, and it's not really it creates kind of privacy concerns because on the blockchain you can see everything that's happening there, but on the other hand you can have as many wallets as you want. So you can have like this stuff in this wallet, this stuff in this other wallet, and no one can make the connection between those two. So you can kind of create these identities as many as you want, and it's a bit like creating characters in a game. You can have many with different specializations and stuff like that, different skill sets. This character knows like different set of spells, and this guy is good with the sword, and it's kind of funny how it works.
We already spend so much money in skins and stuff in games, so right. It's actually just the same. But it's also like when I was young, I had some medals because I was
when you were young.
Yeah, when I was small. Okay, I can say like when I was. I'm actually not that big, so it's not that good to say. But when I had some medals, I mean, those medals are today maybe in some boxes. If I can find them back, that would be awesome to have those medals like like a gift, like maybe an NFTs to remember like in 30 years, because those kind of things, there's a moment where we maybe just also throw it away, because it's like, oh, we have to bring this, okay, now we're moving again and everything. So it's really like your whole past, your whole life can be on internet. So we have to build that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And the cost of keeping old things around is very small, right? So some physical medals you would maybe throw away because it takes space and you know, but if it's just in your wallet for 30 years, it's, you know, it's not a big deal. So it's really easy to keep those around, and it will be really amazing to, you know, look back at those things in 10 or 20 or 30 years that, hey, yeah, I participated in this early streamer testnet and I got this NFT as a reward from that. And maybe,
you can maybe,
yeah, and maybe streamer becomes a big thing by then, so you can really like show it, look, I'm one of the OG.
Exactly. You can then communicate with other people who also earned that like 10 or 15 years ago and get back in contact, or there's so many, you can go very far with this. So it's really, yeah, there's so much to build yet. And so I just wanted to mention, because maybe people don't really know this.
Oh no, you're breaking up, or am I breaking up? I don't know. Help. Does anyone in the chat hear me? For me, I'm alone here. This is weird. I took over the show, I think. Woo! I'm not going to let him back in. It's my show now, so welcome everyone. Welcome to Cryptologic. No, I think I need Anthony to make this make this reasonable. Yeah. Looks like Tug has better internet than where Anthony is. It's a smaller town. Must be that. Okay, someone asked me to resume what is Streamer because they missed the start. So it's a messaging protocol. It's a decentralized messaging protocol that people can use to share data in real time, basically. So, for example, this chat that you're sending messages on could be a streamer stream. So it would work without any centralized back end to relay the messages. And maybe
I'm very sorry. I had my internet went down and yeah, so we lost connection. I'm very sorry about that. Sorry to all the listeners as well. I remember my question, but yeah.
I took over your show for a while.
You were alone?
Yeah, I was alone here. I was having a good time. So yeah, if you want to go, you
I
can
will
go.
leave. Okay. Oh, I didn't know you were alone. Oh, damn.
No, it actually worked. It's
I thought it was
like
a
decentralized or something. But yeah, it worked. At least I was seeing the chat, and I guess people were hearing.
Okay.
Me, so.
Yeah, and there's some questions indeed. Yes. Well, sorry, I
don't know.
Somebody
suggested that I should give you a raise to buy a new PC. So let's talk about that.
They actually know, because I ordered a new PC like 1 week ago. I need to wait. I think it should have come yesterday normally, so I'm very mad about that. But yeah, there's nothing to do.
Then you don't need the raise. You have
no,
the
exactly.
PC already.
It's
okay. Cool. Okay, that's good.
Good news.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know if you were saying something else maybe before I came back, or
I have no idea what happened when you.
I do remember my question before we had a shutdown.
Yeah,
so I wanted to ask, because we were talking about all those NFTs, and so there's still so much to build in Web3. I just wanted to ask, and so we can also clear this: is that is Streamer building those applications, or is Streamer searching for developers to build on top?
Well, searching for developers. So we are first and foremost like building the infrastructure, the kind of foundation that can be used by applications. So we typically don't build like end user applications ourselves within the team, but we might build like some demos or examples or stuff like that that people can look at and then expand from there. So for example, we're right now working on this kind of chat demo application, which is a bit like, around the themes that we discussed earlier, kind of like a WhatsApp clone, but decentralized and more private and so on. And there's also like this real-time NFT thing. I also mentioned this idea, but we haven't really like published that idea yet. It needs a little bit of refinement still to make it really cool, but it's coming as well. So this kind of demos and examples we do build inside the team, and also help builders who come to us and they have a use case. They're like, hey, I want to build this data sharing thing into my application or whatever, and then we can help achieve that.
Yeah, so financially, so because there's a fund or something where you can help also some developers.
Yeah, there's a data fund, so you can go to the project website, which is at streamer.network, and from there you'll find the data fund. So you can actually submit an application, and the range is like from a couple of thousand to 50,000 USD. So it will help you get started on a project for sure. And some of the successful ones like Swash and Demo and these like established players in our ecosystem, that's how they started. They came to us, they asked, hey, can I have a small grant to test out this idea? And then it started from there, and then they end up raising like 20 million or whatever.
That's crazy.
So it's a good track to get on if you have a good idea, and it's still very early. So it's not like all the ideas have been done already. Not at all. It's like none of the ideas have been done already, and it's like totally blue ocean of what can be built. And this applies actually for the whole crypto space, not just Streamer. So it's still very early, and we haven't seen anything really yet. So it will be really groundbreaking, I think, in the next years.
Exactly, yeah. And that's really awesome, to be honest, to be able to help people out, because sometimes it's not easy when you have a great idea, but you don't have the money for it, and you don't have VCs or people behind to help financially, and you just have to put away your idea because you can't work on it. Sometimes that's really annoying. So to be able to have that data fund, it's really amazing, to be honest. And yeah, Swash is a very good example. Demo is a very good example. They needed a little bit of money and they raised millions of dollars. So it's just amazing. Yeah, just
and,
crazy.
You guys in the audience, that could be you, right? So it just takes a bit of skill to push through with an idea. Like starting a business is not easy, of course. It takes a lot of time and very stressful. But I think the crypto space and Web3 is a really good place to start a business, not only for technical people, but also for like business-minded people. But you do need to kind of pair up with some technical guys so that you can,
of course,
actually build something.
Yeah, and I can also just maybe add on top of that there's now also a Discord with the DAO of data unions, where all the builders are there. So if you have like questions or you would like to work with other people, there's also a bi-weekly call as well, where they try to talk about everything. It's really awesome, where you can learn a lot of things. So I think it's really a perfect place for someone to develop as well, like a product there on top.
Yeah, both communities, Streamer and Data Union, are really friendly places. So please do come. And there's also a French channel in the Streamer Discord, I think. So
yeah,
you'll feel right at home.
I will say that in French. Au cas où, dans le Discord, bon, tout le monde le sait, mais on a en effet un channel français au cas où. And Cartel is our community manager. He He's posting all the links in the chats. So you can also just put /streamer and you will find all the links necessary. Okay, that's great. Awesome. I just also maybe wanted to, so there's a lot to learn about Streamer. It's not maybe an easy product for some people outside to also understand what it is, what are the goals, for who is it made, how can we participate. But to be honest, all the documents and everything is shared also on Medium, for example. So there's almost weekly or bi-weekly some posts and blogs coming out to explain a lot of things. But also on Discord, you can find all the kind of information that you need. You can also ask questions. The whole team is very active there. So how can today someone who is not a developer, who's just someone who would like to learn more about cryptos and love to like go from left to right and just search about projects, what can someone like him, like that person, do at Streamer today from your point of view?
Yeah, so the place to start is for sure the website to see like what's going on, and our social channels and blog and everything. But the things you can do today is to kind of think about use cases, participate in the staking, in the mainnet. It's not that hard to do. So there's a lot of people who are not like coders or developers who are participating in the staking. So you can really do that. A lot of people, I guess, speculate on the token. I guess you can do that as well, but beware, it's very, very risky. Don't do that. You will lose your money and everything. So word of warning, of course, on that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think like it's right what Anthony said, that Streamer is a little bit complicated. It's a technical tool for technical people. But it does kind of have its position as the building block of the kind of technical landscape of the future and applications of the future. So apologies for it being a bit technical, but building applications is quite technical. So you kind of have to do these tools. Someone needs to build the hammer, and then there's people who can use the hammer to build a chair, and then you have the chair, and then you can sit on the chair, and that's the mainstream guy who sits on the chair. So we are like 2 steps from that guy, because we are the guys who build the hammer, right?
Exactly. I can also see it a little bit like maybe internet. In the beginning was crazy to explain that to people, the use case and how you can really use internet. Of course, today, much more people in the world can understand Streamer because it's in Web3 and there's much more developers. But before it was very difficult. But once that people know, okay, how we can use it, at that moment, it's much different as well, because later on in Web3, people will not need to understand everything to be able to participate and to use it. And I truly believe that in the next years, we're going to have so many videos about Streamer online that we're going to have a lot of different people in all kind of languages in the next years talking about Streamer and putting all their own way of saying what is Streamer also. It's going to be much easier.
Just like you can use the internet without understanding how it works, you can use the applications that are built on top of Streamer without understanding how Streamer works, which is fine. So if you're not kind of looking to understand how it works, then you can go and check out the applications. Like you can join like Swash Data Union or Demo, or try the chat demo app that we are releasing soon and stuff like that. So that's the kind of mainstream view, and Streamer just works under the hood, like kind of silently delivering the data where it needs to go, and many people don't necessarily even realize that they are using decentralized technology, and that's how it should actually be. Like if I'm a strong believer that if technology becomes visible, then it's not good enough. So it just needs to kind of magically work. And almost none of the crypto stuff is there yet. You have to bother with wallets and private keys, and all of that is kind of hard and clunky, and people lose their keys, and then they lose their money, and they accidentally put 1 0 too much and send too much to somebody, or they send their tokens to the 0 address and burn them and accidentally, and all kind of stuff is happening. So it's nowhere near like making the technology invisible. But I think over time, that's how it's going to be. And if you think about the early days of the internet, it was nowhere near as easy to use as it is today. So you had to like jump through all kind of hoops, and not everyone had like even connectivity in their homes. And you have these like phone modems that were super slow, and it was really hard in the beginning until it became trivial. And for crypto, I think the same will happen. But for the internet, it took like 20 or 30 years. And for crypto, it might also take 20 or 30 years. So we have to understand that we are still early in this transition.
Exactly. It's a very good point. Some people will not see it like that because they're based with a price of a token, for example, Bitcoin. So they see it like, yeah, but we're in the beginning, but it's so expensive today, Bitcoin. So they're focused on those kind of things. And there's the technology and there's the speculation. It's two separated things that we really have to be aware, I think, today. It's very important.
Yeah. Imagine buying a part of the internet in the early 90s or late 80s, like
crazy.
But in the IT bubble in late 90s and early 2000, it would have seemed very, very expensive, this part of the internet. Like Amazon stock was very expensive at the time of the IT bubble, but look how expensive it's today, right? 20 years later. So
it's crazy.
It was super cheap at the time, even at the height of the IT bubble. So time really, like, if people are creating like these unstoppable technologies and unstoppable ecosystems, then they will gather value over time if they are adopted. And I think the crypto technology is something that is already past the question. Like maybe 5 years ago, it was a question, will this thing be adopted? Will it result in any kind of real world use cases or actual like utility? But I think that question has now been like very thoroughly answered, and the question is yes, this technology is here to stay. It's being used in all kind of places. Even the nation states and central banks are looking into creating like crypto versions of their fiat currencies and stuff like that. So it's and like different like identity programs and others are being brought onto blockchain, and real world assets like real estate and others are being registered on chain. So this is really it's already happened, and it just keeps on happening as we go. And yeah, I think it's the direction of the future, but I'm just repeating myself, I guess.
No, it's
I've devoted my professional life to this, so I'm a little bit excited about it.
I'm happy for you, because honestly, if you didn't have that, it would be very long days.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I'm not trying to brainwash you guys, and I think your audience has already like kind of accepted that this is an interesting direction. But
100%.
Yeah, but it's a mind shift that I think is very much still happening. So us in the crypto space, we're still like a small niche, right? So, but it's expanding for sure.
It's growing. Yeah. We have every day new people coming into cryptos and asking all bunch of questions, and it's normal. It's good. We see that it's growing every day. Actually, we just have some big waves of sometimes people coming into cryptos because of the price. But besides that, if you see it on a chart, it's just growing constantly. So it's just perfect. That's what we need. I would like to ask maybe like a last question. It's not about Streamer, but it's just your vision, because you've been in crypto since also a long time. I'm not going to ask you about how much do you see the Bitcoin or Ethereum in 10 years from here, but how do you see the crypto markets, like because there's a lot of also scams. There's a lot of cryptos who will disappear from my point of view also. How do you see it maybe for in the next 5 or 10 years from here? It's very difficult to answer, but
all economies and all markets, like throughout history, have gone through periods of expansion and contraction. And crypto market is not different from this, and it's not immune to this. It's maybe like even quite susceptible. What's the English word? It's opposite of immune.
Say in French.
It's probably in the nature of the crypto market to even go through quite volatile cycles as we've seen in the past. But it's just the nature of things. If you think about like the technology stocks in the 90s, they were very volatile. They were going up and down all the time as well, until the IT bubble, and then it all crashed, and then it came back up again. So it's really not different from any market with its own hype cycles and that kind of thing. So I don't think we can kind of escape from that. But it's more like, and you can never time the market. So, Warren Buffett doesn't believe in the crypto, so in this I disagree strongly with him. But I disagree with one thing that he has said, at least. So it's not about timing the market; it's about time in the market. So you just have to, you just take a position. Okay, I believe this thing will be big in the future, and then you just kind of hang tight. So there's a lot of people who are speculating and day trading or whatever. That's of course very risky, but it's really good to have skin in the game in something that you believe in. I think that's like good. So, and there's two ways you can do it. One is to start a company and run a team and go towards the vision that you believe in. So that's what I did. Or you can just kind of hop onto some train that is already in motion and then stick to that. So both are perfectly fine methods, and everyone has ways to contribute towards the goals of each project. So
yeah, thanks for that vision. I agree with with almost everything. I mean, also if we take, for example, Amazon, you talked about Amazon. I believe it was more than 94% down from the all-time high until 94% is crazy. People will say, "Oh, it's a scam, Amazon. I lost all my money here." So,
and nowadays people think that that kind of craziness can only happen in crypto, right? But
exactly,
it has happened in all kind of emerging markets, and crypto is an emerging market. It's still fresh. It's still like risky, dangerous. So if you want safe things, you have to go a little bit somewhere else. But if you want to be part of the future, then you're in the right place.
I agree 100%. Okay, great. Then thank you very much for sharing your vision on this. It was really awesome. I like to ask always, like at the end, a small question like on the market and the vision on long term from all kind of different people. So it's always interesting to know. Just a small reminder, sorry, for all the people in the chat as well. All the links are in the chat, so you can follow on Twitter, on Discord, YouTube. We have also our website if you would like to learn a little bit more about STREAMR Network. We're very active on Discord, so feel free to jump in and ask any questions. There's no stupid questions, of course, so feel free to join. And yeah, I think, would you like to add something else, Henry? Maybe like about STREAMR or...
No, I don't have anything in particular in my mind. I think we really covered everything very thoroughly. So thanks for good questions, and thanks for having me on the show. And I'm looking forward to meeting everyone in the audience on our Discord or in conferences and so on. So welcome to our community.
Thank you and thank you very much for taking time to come talk to a French-speaking community. So nice. We don't have a lot of English interviews, but it was really awesome. And of course, the video is going to be also on YouTube later on with subtitles for the French community, because not everyone understood everything. So yeah. Of course.
My pleasure, and hopefully next time I'll know a little bit more French. But these topics are so complicated that I can barely discuss them in English.
Yeah.
So discussing them in French would be like a huge leap, but maybe in 30 years.
Yeah, we will
That's my
see.
vision for the 30 years. I'll learn French.
Okay, cool. Henry, thank you very much for your time. I wish you a perfect evening. Enjoy. And yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot. Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.